Hey guys, it's Matt. It is March 31st. It's a Sunday, and I've been away from the screens for a few days, but I want to take you through a review of trading for March and then also a look here at what we might have actionable coming up in the beginning of April, starting tomorrow, Monday, April 1st. So let's jump into a quick review of my trading in March, which was not awesome. Uh, it was basically a scratch month. It was slightly negative. So you can see here, these are all my trades if you want to screenshot and take a look at these. Um, but so this column. I should have frozen this column, but this column here is my month to date R value. So you can see on the last trade of the month, it was negative 0.68. So down 0.68 R for the month. Um, Mostly because I just allowed myself to get chopped up, which you can see here. This column is, green is wins and red is losses, and I just got chopped to death over the second half of the month. So I did not respond quickly enough to what was probably a changing environment, and just was still throwing stuff at everything, and you know yeah, just didn't respond quickly enough and realize like, oh, we're this market has shifted and it's time to really dial back and be very selective about what we're throwing some money at, right? So you can see my win rate for the month was 0.25. So and then my profit loss ratio was 2.81. And then that gives me a negative expectancy, which makes sense because I was down negative R for the month, right? Slightly. So, I mean, overall, it's a scratch month, right? It's not like I didn't have a huge drawdown or anything, but it would have been great to preserve some of this, 5.65 R that I was up after a few of the good trades that I had. You can see GTES, which actually didn't close out until the end of the month. So this date here is the date that I initiated the trade. So GTES didn't close out until the 26th, but ended up being a almost 5 hour trade. Microsoft also almost a 5 hour trade. And then some little base hits that added up along the way, but then just got, like I said, just chopped up too much losing, especially through the second half of the month here. You can see February, my win rate was much better, right? Almost 50%. And my profit loss ratio was about the same. It was 2.8 this month. It was 2.6 in February. And had a much better month, right? Like my was I really up 11 R at the end of February? It's funny. I have like the memory of a goldfish, which is a good thing sometimes in trading. But like if you would have asked me what my R value was at the end of last month, I would have said like, oh, I think I had like a 5 R month or something. It was an 11 R month, so that was pretty good. Uh, cool, good job, Matt. Yeah. So anyway, hopefully a little bit of a different story here in April. I really did dial back at the end of last week. There were a day or two where I didn't sit at all. Really, actually enjoyed having Friday off. The market was closed for a Good Friday, so took advantage of that and enjoyed some some other things. Excuse me, some other things in my morning that I don't get to do when I have to sit for the market. So anyway, yeah, that's March. So let's take a look at what we're looking at for the upcoming the upcoming month or the upcoming week. Also, this week I probably won't be. I'll sit tomorrow. Almost surely I'll sit tomorrow, and then Tuesday, I definitely will not be in front of the screens as I'm traveling. Wednesday, it's not likely. I'm not even sure I'm going to take my laptop with me when I travel. Um, and then Thursday morning, I won't be either because I travel back Thursday morning. So, um, yeah, there's a good chance I'm not going to be in front of the screen. So, if I initiate a trade tomorrow, then I'll just have to manage it mobily over the week, which I don't know really that I want to do that. So I might just sit tomorrow and sit on my hands and kind of get a feel for what's going on and not really trade, which means I wouldn't be trading until possibly Friday, but then I'm gonna have family or friends in town uh, then anyway. So I don't know that I'm gonna be sitting much, and I if I'm not sitting, I'm probably not gonna be making videos. So um, for any of you who might be following along regularly, you might not hear from me for a little while. So let's take a look at these are the things that I've had on my watch list recently. I'm going to try to cull this a little bit, and then we'll look at my master list and clean this up a little bit. We'll look at my master list, and we'll we'll try to add some back on for tomorrow morning. So AFRM, I think I'll keep on. Really, I'd like to see this regain the 50 here, and then maybe be able to get into something there if it pops off. It's it tightened up here, got a little sloppy, and then tightened up again here. So if we get some momentum in this, that might be worth jumping into. DOCN, similar story possibly of it's tightening up a little bit, although it's a little tighter a few days ago, right? Last week sometime. Uh, we'll probably keep these on the list. I like PSTG here still. Again, part of it is just, we need to see what the overall market ends up doing, right? AMD, I still like this I mean, it's AMD, right? It's pretty strong. Um, BK is probably coming off the list at this point, right? Doesn't mean it's not worth keeping an eye on a daily basis, but just not actionable. Definitely not actionable in the morning. Um, yeah, NetApp I think is still worthy of being on the list. TSM might still be worthy. Um, this one's kind of loose and all over the place, but it is. I mean, you can see it's tightening up a little bit, right? I mean, it was super loose. This was all of this stuff was just nonsense, right? But it's kind of sort of a almost reminds me of like oscillation, right? Where it's like, oh, it's getting really wide and it's getting tighter, 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 and then maybe we'll get some movement one way or the other. I think this is one though that depending what happens with the rest of the market in the semiconductor space, we see it go either way, right? It could break down and take out the 50 and keep going, or it could rocket back up here and make new highs. Who knows? Our job is not to know that; it's to try to follow it once it happens, and then take good risk reward positions, right? And then don't get chopped up like I did in March. Even though I think I took good risk reward positions, I got chopped up. So it was taking too many of them. Um, Now this guy, I don't know, it kind of got a little loose last week, and I'd like to see it maybe tighten up a little more. I don't love it. I think I'm taking that off my list. Um, we'll keep that there for now. This is probably going to come off. I don't. Let's keep that on there for now. Builder's another one of those things that, again, like it's just kind of chopping sideways, like much of the market. And um, yeah, if it gets going, it would be great to jump in on again. Right? It's kind of a slow mover, though, if you look back at the chart there. Fast. I don't love this right now. Not for action tomorrow, at least. This one, first watch looked like it was trying to break out of this recent kind of level here, right? Looked like it was trying to pop up above all this stuff here, and it did, and then just got shoved right back down. So, uh, yeah, and it's not like a super strong. It was one of those ones that had a pretty chart there for a couple days, and then you know, uh, I'm not interested anymore. That doesn't mean it couldn't work. Like just because I'm not interested doesn't mean it might not. I don't know, catch a bid and rock it up. Lowe's I still like here. I mean, it kind of closed strong at the end of the day, so I could see if we get a decent, if we get a decent look at it and we get a good place to set a stop, then I could see getting in on that. I still like this. I mean, it's holding that gap uh, from the earnings gap up, right? And so it's tightening up. I mean, again, it could go either way, right? It could break down and get into the gap and then flood it, or it could pop up to the high side. So, um, all right, let's just take a look at the master list here and we'll go through some things. So these I just look at because it's good to see what's happening here. Is the dollar getting stronger? What's the 10-year yield doing? Uh, and then we get into charts. So I don't think I'm going to talk through all of these because that would be, I don't know, I feel like too much talking for me. I'll just say something if I feel like it's helpful. If I skip anything that you guys see that's like you think is super actionable, then let me know. I'll go back and take a look at it. This thing's so jumpy. I mean, it would. I remember when it caught my eye. I forget if it was maybe here. I was like, "Oh, this thing's looking good." And like, it's just so kind of loose and all over the place. Like, yeah, it would have been great to get in here and catch this run, but geez, the gaps and then the big slam and reversal, and I mean, that's a lot to sit through. It's uh, it's pretty loose. Yeah, I've still got an alert set there. And if it's going to alert, might as well do it down here. And some of these are too extended. Ingersoll is one of those ones that I saw tightening up and then ended up not getting the day that it actually took off. I took a shot or two at this in March and got chopped on it, and then didn't catch that actual breakout day. But it looks like it's going to chop sideways again for a little bit, or has been already, right? So then maybe it gets going again. GTES, a recent winner for me. This was a big one in March, one of my almost 5 hour trades, I think. So I don't think we're quite there yet for actionable trades. I'd like to see it consolidate a little bit more and maybe maybe start to tighten up around the 20 day moving average there, and then we're talking. Then we'll put it on a watch list. And so you guys can tell. I mean, this isn't like a. I'm not curating these videos to make them like, every 5 seconds something new happens, and the YouTube algorithm friendly videos that are for people with no attention span. So this might be kind of boring, but I just feel like, maybe you want to sit through and see what it's actually like to scan through stocks. And I'm by no means is my approach the right one, but it's the one that seems to be working for me. So um, this actually I like the look of Lyft here. Um, I'd like it more if it was. I'm going to put it on my list though. I'm going to keep an eye on it. It might not be actionable right away, but it's one of those ones that like I'm gonna keep watching this because if it can actually keep moving sideways a little bit and even let the 20 day catch up to it, and then really get tight in here, uh, that would be nice. But also, I mean, the nice little inside day here. That's good risk reward, right? I mean, that's an easy place to okay. I enter here, I set a stop here, right? We get to 1R before we hit this level. We're at almost 2R at highs, at recent highs, right? I mean, that's like you know the thing here is like, okay, if it gets back to highs, let's say, yeah, that's not a home run trade, right? Like that's not 5R. Now maybe look, if it let's say it opens at 1950 or something, and the first 5 minute candle runs up a couple cents here, 20 cents, and then that's what you do. You get your entry at the 1975 area and you set your stop at 1950, right? That's a different story, right? That's a much tighter. Let's see if we can do that. Let's see, we get 76. Yeah, I mean there you're now you get up to highs and you're almost at 4R, right? But that's also you have a better chance of getting chopped out there, right? Because you're I mean you're just tightening up your stop so much. You're not giving it any room to work, which is okay. I mean there are times where that's actually yeah, go for it. Like if you think it's really going to rock it, okay, tighten up your stop and you can go bigger size and you'll get more R out of it too. I mean, it's great. But in the same respect, if you give it a little more room to work, right? Uh, Getting up to recent highs, which is a reasonable expectation, is even if it hits highs and it turns back around and it comes back to break even, you're still gonna get a base hit out of this, guys, right? You're gonna get your 1R here if you take a little bit off around 1R, 1.5, even almost 2R, right? Or you take some right before highs here, thinking like, yeah, no, it could hit some resistance here, so let's take some. And it reverses on you. At least you get a base hit out of it, right? And that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for, am I likely to get a base hit out of this at least? And then if it breaks through highs and it takes off and it ends up somewhere up here, the 23 area within a week or two, awesome, right? Uh, but yeah, you're not looking for a a home run potential right out of the gates. Just look for enough for a base hit or at least good risk reward, and uh, and then see what happens after that. It's kind of a defensive mindset. I can focus on what I'm doing here. I'm thinking about what I want to say, and then I'm not really looking at the stocks. That would have been a nice one to catch, huh? So you can see the home area. The home builders are, uh, Toll Brothers, even the TPX, which is kind of home builder adjacent. Uh, Pulte, KB Homes. Yeah, Lulu got spanked the other day. Airbnb is not looking too bad, but it's such a chopper, right? It's kind of a grind fest. I mean, back here we got some nice moves, some breakouts, and a nice steep trend line. But here it's just, I mean, yeah, sure, if you catch this little run here, you catch this little run here, but it's a big if. Does it really give like, hey, nice consolidation for a long period of time and then a good run? Not really. Man, that's a big regret still. I know I keep talking about this one, but I was loving this one all through here. I was like, "Ooh, I can't wait for this thing to pop off," and then I didn't catch it, and then gone. And really, probably had I been paying attention, could have gotten in maybe here, but then you're extended, right? And you're not thinking, yeah, it's going to run another $4. Uh, oh well, Close is on my list already, right? I kept that on there. Carvana, things chops around a lot too. Not chops, but it's just it's volatile. Kintoki Tiki, Simpsons reference for anyone who's paying attention. I find that there's some Simpsons references that I've been making for so long that I've forgotten that they're actually Simpsons references and they're just phrases that I say. And then sometimes I'll be around somebody and I'll say something and I'll be like, "Is that Homer?" And I'll be like, "Oh shit, yeah, it is." That's what I really studied in college was The Simpsons, which is kind of a shame. But I probably remember more Simpsons trivia and quotes from college than I remember things that I actually learned in class. I hope that's not actually true, but it seems like it could be on first glance. Nice inside day on Square here. Sorry, block, even though it says Square right here and it's SQ. Um, yeah, I don't love it. I mean, it's because it's pretty loose the past couple weeks, but mm, should we put it on our list? Yes, we should. Let's do it. And as we sit, so this is the watch list. Obviously it says morning watch, right? So it's the list I'm going to watch in the morning when the market opens, but I can always cull that in pre-market tomorrow or add new things to it, right? It's a flexible list. Yeah, this is a volatile one, but that's maybe worth watching if you're interested, right? That's a little inside day here. It's still a bit wide for me, but it would be awesome if it kind of consolidated a little more for a day or two, and then we'd be talking. Then I'd be really excited about it. Wicked excited. That's already on the list. Now I just have random Simpsons things running through my head. Uh, I don't know that I'm in that good of a mood to start singing songs for you guys. Look at this. So now, I mean, we're talking about Microsoft here, guys, right? That's a tight little day right there. You kind of almost have to watch that one just because it's Microsoft, right? Like, who doesn't believe in this thing? I mean, that's a nice little tight flag there. It doesn't mean it's going to do anything, right? It could be that the whole market's turning around right now, and this is the top, and we're going to just chop and consolidate and dive back down, and who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? But when Microsoft gives you a nice tight day like that, you kind of have to at least pay attention. This one's not bad either. I mean, it's a little loose, but it's sort of tightening up here. You can draw some lines here, a little wedge happening wherever you want to draw them because lines are uh, subjective, right? But you could draw a nice line there, a nice line here, and it's kind of tightening up. And we've got a little inside day here, so we'll put that on the list. Should just leave that open, right? I think yeah, that one's already on the list. All right. I like Dell here too. Gusta and Tap's already on the list. And Tap. Yeah, and depending on your account, you can put this one on the list. I feel like uh, this one would honestly probably I'd run into buying power issues because it is pretty tight. Actually, I don't know. It's almost a $15 spread between. I don't think I'm going to put it on my list, but you can go ahead and put it on yours. How's that sound? It's actually kind of nice for the lower priced action. It's a little loose lately with this lower wick here, but Again, it's one of those things like if semis start to take off, that's a nice tight little day there, right? Those nice little inside day. Intel, not so much. We talked about that one. AMD is on the list. Marvell, again, it's dependent on what else happens. Nvidia looks good, right? Like that's giving you, God, why would you not pay attention to that? It's the same as Microsoft, right? I mean, it's Nvidia, right? Like, I mean, until another 5 years from now, maybe if this company is taking a shit, you just got to kind of give it some love, right? And if it's showing you this right on the 20 day, which is, I don't know if that's technically an inside day because it might have gotten a little lower here. No, it didn't. Yeah, it is. It's technically an inside day, right? Um, God, I can't believe I couldn't see that. My eyesight, guys, my eyesight. No, so yeah, it's a nice little inside day right on the 20, right? It's gonna, you've gotta at least pay attention to that. Uh, Okay. ARM, yeah, nice little tight day there too. I don't know that I like it as much, but again, all of these are, it's all semiconductor, right? So you just, if one starts to really pop off, then the rest might follow suit. We don't know. Netflix having a nice pullback there. I just don't know. I don't know if it's really tight enough for me. I'd like to see it consolidate a little bit more. Spotty. That could look good in a couple days. Meta sort of same as Netflix. It's pulling back, but I'd just like to see it chop around a little more before it does anything. So that's the dollar. And if you want to just, you know what, that here's the semiconductor ETF, right? Nice tight day there. So, I mean, if you want, if you want to, right, you can always put that on your list and get your semi exposure that way. Have to- Yeah. It's kind of chopping around though, so I wouldn't really trust that, but it's a nice little tight day there. Anyway, that's my master watch list. I'm sure there's some things I'm missing from there. We can take a quick look at through the indexes here and just see. By the way, guys, in case you're wondering, I don't actually use Thinkorswim to execute. I have a I use Cobra as my execution, mostly because I had an account with them already. And I did use Thinkorswim for a little while I was trading in my health savings account, which is the account that you're looking at. This one up here that you don't see the number two. Um, but I don't. I stopped trading in that. I might start mirroring it again and just try to grow that a little bit more because it's tax-free money. Tax-free money. It's interesting. I'm thinking about my month, right? Like this is the SPY for March, and I'm thinking, I had a great first half of the month, and look at SPY just kind of chop around, right? And then my second half was not so good, and look at the run SPY had, the pullback, and and it hits new highs here, and it's interesting how that can happen, right? Like, I don't know. If you looked at this, you'd be like, oh, you probably did well while it was making a pretty good uptrend line here. Whereas here it was almost sideways. I mean, there's a little channel here, maybe if you draw it, right? But this one really has some good thrust here. But for me, not so much. Didn't work out that way. Then we can look really quick at Qs, IWM, the mid caps, equal weighted, the VIX. The VIX is ready to break out, right? Look at that tight little inside day on the VIX. The 10-year yield, the dollar. Okay, well, I think we've got a list for tomorrow, right? I like all of these, something to keep an eye on. I can see one or two of these that might get trimmed before the bell. But again, I don't know that I'm not going to be super aggressive tomorrow because if I don't have to manage trades while I'm out of town, I'm going out of town for a funeral, by the way. So I'm going to be around family and just, doing stuff that's more important than the stock market, honestly. So I'll be wanting to devote my time and attention to my family, um, and to those other things. So I, unless I see something really juicy tomorrow that I think, oh, like this is going to give me a couple of hour today, and then I can just set a stop and maybe take a glance at it once a day until the end of the week or something, and move my stop up after hours or, or whatever if it keeps running. Unless I see a trade like that I think is really gonna pop off, then I'm probably not gonna take anything tomorrow. So anyway, guys, that's my list. If you're still here, God, man, you are dedicated to this game, and I love it. You'll do all right if you're still if you're still watching at the end of this video, however long this has been, 30 minutes or so, sitting through my boring talking and although hopefully still somewhat educational talking. I don't know, maybe not. But if you're a newer trader, maybe. And yeah, if you're still here, good for you, man, because it's you're putting in some time. Like I said, these videos aren't necessarily like I'm not a YouTuber by nature. I don't want to make choppy, flashy videos. I don't give a shit about that. I want to show you what trading is really like, which is boring 95% of the time. So anyway, I'll talk to you guys sometime the next 2 weeks. I might not be around for a while. So enjoy and good luck.